Hi, my name is Avery. I'm 9 years old and I'm in 3rd grade and I'm excited to be here today. First of all, I get to see Jana Shortal. Second, because I get to skip school. Jana is a reporter and co-anchor of Breaking the News on Care 11. One time, Jana came to my house to interview me and my mom about food allergies. She's a great person. We have a lot in common. We're both tomboys, we both have similar hair, we both wear glasses, and we have a cool style. At my school, we had to dress like a celebrity, and I dressed up like Jana. It's really cool that I have a role model like her to look up to. Please help me welcome Jana Shortal.
You ever have one of those moments where you thought you died? Because you meet somebody, you're like, whoa. Thank you, Avery. Good segue into what I want to talk about today. And obviously, we're going to talk about moments. And I thought, and I'm like, where are the moments in my work right now? Where do they really happen? I don't do as much general news anymore. I do longer form stuff. And, well, there's not a lot of moments. Present administration excluded. And where I see true creativity is with kids. And so about a year ago, I decided if I was going to get to do one thing, I had one thing on my wish list for this new show that I work on. It would be to every week sit down with 6 and 7-year-olds, ask them one question, and see where they would go with it. So we've done that for a bit. And why did I pick kids? Well, because kids are kind of the ultimate paradox, right? People say, well, they're really simple. They just give it to you straight, right? And then on the other hand, they're not that simple at all because they don't have any limitations to where they can go in a conversation about anything, really. I once asked a kid, where did food come from? And she said it came from weed. You have an opportunity there to say, no, it doesn't, food comes from this, but I really wanted to explore weed. So we did, and one thing led to another, and she stood solid in her answer that food came from weed, walked out of that room, head held high, shoulders back, and went about her day. But for me to correct her would be to filter her creativity. For me to say, no, that's not what it is, would teach her to be quiet, to only give the right answer, and to not explore a new answer. So that's why I interview kids. It's my favorite thing. Sometimes they dress like me, which is a little bit unnerving. But to give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about, we put a few clips together so you can understand how these interviews actually go.
Are you going to be on TV?
Yep.
My first question is, what would it be like if I wasn't a football analyst with you?
I don't want to think about that. You're the best thing that happened to me in 2016.
Well,
So, how long ago did the internet get invented?
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna go for it. 1015. I'm pretty sure it was made before that. 1963. 1967. That's a long time ago.
Do you know what a bandwagon fan is?
A bandwagon fan is like when there's a band and then you're wagging a fan. There's a band going by and you're wagging a fan.
Why do you think hockey players are missing their teeth?
Because they eat a lot of sweet stuff, also kind of like candy. They eat confetti cake sometimes, so take away all of the candy and put broccoli on their plate.
Seems drastic.
Hey kids!
Okay.
Oh, and you forgot the salads.
I usually do forget the salad.
And olive oil.
Tell me this. Am I a kid or a grown-up?
A grown-up.
Darn it.
Don't cry.
Okay.
You're in Care 11.
I know.
Come on.
I'm get it together. Do you guys know what Donald Trump is?
All I know is McDonald's. It's delicious.
What do grown-ups do wrong?
They be mean to each other.
Why do you like the Vikings so much?
Because they're in Minnesota and we live in Minnesota.
That's honestly the most logical reason I've ever heard.
Logical reason.
Yeah. You know what that means?
No.
It means it makes sense.
Yeah.
People think that they have to wait in line to go to the bathroom for too long when they come here. What do you think about that?
Well, you just gotta hold it. You can't go to the future. You can only go to the past. If you go to the future, you're gonna rip the time. There's gonna be two of you.
What?
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
What are you thankful for?
Football.
Let's just play that. So that gives you a little bit more understanding of why I want to sit around with a group of kids. Because another one of those instances, one of our all-time favorites, is when I asked kids if they wanted to go to space. And they looked at me like, duh. Okay, why do you want to go to space? And they're like, well, because one kid said because Taylor Swift was there. And I said, that's awesome. Can I come? And they said, no, you're too big. But you do have a driver's license, and so we need someone with a license. Another kid said, we can't go tomorrow because my mom makes lasagna on Thursdays. I said, oh. And then another kid chimed in, don't worry, we'll go Friday and you can bring leftovers. All 5 of them then said, oh, problem solved, right? But that's the beauty of it, is that as a creative person, a lot of times I felt stifled by being in a very one-dimensional industry of news. We gather the news, we tell you the news, end of day. And there's not a lot of places to be creative. So with kids, at least once a week, I could sit down and I could ask them a question like, what is politics? That one went all over the place, because then when we got to running for president, they were very confused as if people were actually running for president. So it gives that creativity a space. It's certainly been a gift for me creatively, because I have found that a lot of times, and the person I work with, Carly, pointed this out to me yesterday, that when people talk to little kids, they wait for an answer and then they tell them the actual truth. Don't do that. As creative people, this is a great secret for all of you to do. Talk to kids more often, but don't say what they're saying is an alternative fact. Let them draw it out and tell me why you're thinking that way. And it literally will change your perspective in your own creative space. It's allowed me to, I go in there with literally one question. I am the laziest person in the world, because I know one question about space is going to turn into lasagna. It's just a guarantee. I know that's going to happen. And so it allows me to hear people be creative around me, because they don't know that they're not supposed to be. There's a certain age that we all get to, 8, 9, 10, I don't know what it is, where we kind of shut that light, or at least we certainly dim it down. Because to be bold and creative is to be really vulnerable, right? If you come up with something really cool as an adult, one of the first things you're going to think of is, what if nobody likes it? Perfect example. About 15 minutes ago, I was having a slight panic attack, retching over in the corner. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't like seeing people. People freak me out. Avery turns around. Just do it. It's very supportive. But she was right. She's not at that space yet. What's the big deal? You dabbed up here. You don't care how many people are out here. I dab, I'm going to pull a muscle, and we'll be taken out of here on a stretcher. Not to mention be humiliated and worried about what trolls on Twitter might say about me. Good on you. So that's the other thing I see in kids. It renews that spirit in me that reminds me to be 7 again. I wish that when I was 7, I could have done what you're doing. But I wasn't courageous enough. I couldn't button that shirt all the way up and wear that blazer. So I did something else. But to do that dims the light on our creativity because we're not being authentic to ourselves. And that's the key. If you're confident in yourself, then you're confident to be creative, and you're confident to have an idea, and if somebody doesn't like that, then you get to be like a kid and say, but why? Why don't you like that idea? Imagine if we did those interviews like I do with kids, and I had 5 of you sit at a table in front of me, and I say, okay, do you want to go to space? You all look at me like, I don't know. But what if you push rewind and sat at that table and we're 7? And I said, do you want to go to space? You thought about it? And you're like, well, yeah. Why? Imagine the answers that you would have. Imagine what you'd learn from the person next to you about why or why not they don't want to go to space. Maybe it's lasagna. And maybe they're too big, Maybe they don't have a driver's license. But engage in those conversations. That's what kids have given to me. And one thing I've also noticed is that when you're talking to the littles, react just with your face and stop. Don't say anything. So when they say something, as you saw, they'll kind of stop. I'm like, 1,000, I'm going to go for it. 1,015. Don't say anything. Another kid. 100,000, you get my point? So when you speak to people, there's a reason you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen. Listen to their idea and let them finish. Really listen. We're having a listening deficit disorder going on in this country right now. People aren't listening to each other because they want to be right, or they want to be heard, or they want to be on the right side of their news silo, whatever it is. But I think if we started to listen a little bit, put our shoulders down, I think we'd be better off. If we were a little bit like kids, if we were unafraid, if we didn't have that filter instilled in us, to just really be and to create. And that's, I guess, the biggest reason why I do it. There's one thing that I want to share that happened this week that was a moment that happened that I didn't expect with children. And this moment was funny to me, but then it got turned around. So I'm going to play that moment for you, and then I'm going to explain why.
Do you guys have any questions for me about arguing, pie, baby beavers? Yes, sir.
Have you ever argued with your husband?
Well, I don't have a husband.
You mean wife?
I don't have a wife either.
I'm single. I thought that was funny. Now, I don't know about Blue Shirt Kid, because Blue Shirt Kid's a hero. I don't know if Blue Shirt Kid knew I was gay. I don't know if Blue Shirt Kid thought I was a dude. Either way, it was hilarious and they meant no harm. So what do? I take that moment, put it on the internet, social media, because it's part of my job, but put it on social media. There's something in the back of my head like, oh, careful. I didn't listen. Careful. Nah, it's funny. You'll be fine. Nah. Majority of people thought it was funny, thought it was great, laughed just like you. The minority chimed in. So what is it? They're talking about me, I'm the it. Is it a boy or a girl? So I responded to each of them with my preferred pronoun. Others were worse. But my point about that is, was that a reminder to not be creative, to get back in my box, to stay quiet? Don't persist. Or was that a reminder to persist? It took me a while to figure that out. For me, it was a reminder that I've been given a great opportunity to be myself. To be myself in front of you, to be myself in my work, to be my little self in you, to be myself on social media, to be myself in my private life. So I made a promise to myself after I responded to those people who weren't that nice to me. Would I create or would I persist? Really only one answer. What do you think it is, Avery? Would I persist? No, you shouldn't. Nevertheless, she persisted. So I ask all of you to do the same. Persist.